I'm back. All right, so I'm back. So I just want to portray to you, math is really, really cool. It's amazing what you can do with math. In fact, math, if you are taking physics, you might already know this. Math can be used to understand the world around us. I am currently learning about quantum mechanics through this book. This book, essentially, math is essentially understanding the world around us. It's crazy. I won't go over the history of math because you might have learned that in class, but it's crazy. Math is so cool. Anyways, so let's solve this equation here. So I got my blue marker back. All right, so we got 4x plus 7x. 4x plus 7x. What's 4 plus 7? Let's see. 11. 11x. So if you don't know how to do that in your head, don't worry. You can use your fingers. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 4 fingers. So 11x is 7 plus 4. All right. And then plus 8. That equals, so we solved this side of the equation. Next, we gotta solve this just chunk. All right, we gotta solve the other chunk. The other chunk, we don't have any like terms to combine. So in this case, it's just still 7x plus 2. Sorry. Now, are we done? No, we're not done. We have to have the x terms all on one side, and we have to have the non-x terms all on the other side. All on one side and the other side of this equation. So an equal sign. Think of it as kind of a fence, right? In order to get past this fence, you either will have to add, subtract, multiply, or divide. You do the opposite sign of what's there. So in this case, there's a positive 8 here. The opposite of plus is minus. We have to subtract. We have to give it a minus 8. So plus 8 minus 8, that turns into 0. Boom. When you turn into 0 or 1, 1 when you're dividing, 0 when you're subtracting or adding, boom, you knock out the term on this side, and you can do it on the other side. In this case, what you have to do is what you do on one side of the equation, you have to do on the other side of the equation in order to keep it equal, right? So then 8 minus 8, so then we subtracted 8 from here, we subtract 8 from here. We have to do that. Otherwise, think of it as a teeter-totter. So we like that, and then, right? Except we are balanced right now. So let's draw it straight, right? And there's, let's say there's a box here and a box here. All right. If we subtract something from the box, if we take this box and we get rid of it. So I'm gonna use my eraser to get rid of it. We get rid of this. Then obviously the teeter-totter is gonna go to this side. So if we get rid of this side, we have to also get rid of this side in order to keep the teeter-totter even. That's essentially, or to keep the scale or whatever even. So that's why we need to do something. When we do something to one side, we have to do it to the other side as well, in order to keep the equation even. All right. So we subtract 8 from this side. We also have to subtract 8 from that side. All right. So this is gonna be 0. So we just cross that out. That's usually what teachers do. Then we have 11x equals the 3x. We didn't do anything to the 3x, so the 3x goes down here. And then 2 minus 8. All right. This is positive 2 minus 8. So you can solve this one of two ways. One way is, the way I do it, is I think about the number line. Number line is 0, 1, 2, 3, da 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 da. And then on this side, it's -1, -2, -3. It's really easy to think about this in your mind. All right. We start out at 2. And then we have to subtract 8. To subtract, you go to the left. To add, you go to the right. So I'll add arrows that show that. Subtract is a subtract. And this way, goes from the 0. This way, you add, all right? If you're going to the right, you add, go left, subtract. So in this case, we're at 2, and we minus 8. We go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? So it gets more negative, right? And so if it gets more negative, you're gonna have a negative over here. Essentially, you're just subtracting 8 minus 2, and it'll be a negative number. In this case, it'll be 6. And you can count that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and then we get to the 0. And then 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So, or from the 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that's the answer, negative 6. You can think of this as a number line to figure out what sign it's going to be, right? Or, number 2, you could just look at which number, without the signs, which number is bigger. In this case, the 8's bigger than the 2. So then, and the 8's negative, so then the solution is also going to be negative. Either way will give you the right sign. All right. Now, we have, so then if it's minus 6, so we have to bring down the negative 6 over here. So we have 11x equals 3x minus 6. Now we have to move this 3x over here. In order to move this 3x over here, usually when you see a 3x, you think divide. But in this case, we're moving the whole 3x. We're not just moving the 3, we're moving the 3x. In order to move the 3x, this doesn't have a sign in front of it, but because it doesn't have a sign in front of it, it's a positive number. So if it's positive, we do the opposite sign, which is negative. We subtract 3x. 3x. So 3x minus 3x, that's just going to be 0. Boom, cross it out. So we're just left with negative 6 over here. All right? And then that equals, since we did it to one side, we also have to do it to the other side, negative 3x, right? One side, we have to do it to the other side. We need to keep things even. All right? We need to keep the balance balanced, rather. And so we have 11x minus 3x, 11 minus 3, 11 minus 3x, there's going to be, so how I like to do this in my head is it's 11. What does it take to go back down to 10? It'll take subtracting 1. And if we subtract 1 on the 11, then we subtract 1 on the 3. So 1 minus 11 is 10. 1 minus 3 is 2. And then 2 minus 10, that's 8. So then you have 8x. Boom. Easy peasy. It's easier in your head to do that, instead of doing the whole borrowing thing, or doing it on your fingers. You can do it in your head. All right. Are we done? No. Now we have 8x equals negative 6. I'm going to do that. I'm going to move it up here. All right. 8x equals negative 6. We're not done yet. Now we have to get rid of this 8. We're not going to get rid of the 8x. 8x is good over there, but we want to get rid of the 8. Because right now, the x still has this 8 with it. In order to get rid of this 8, it's a little harder than just getting rid of this 6. Or getting rid of this negative 8. Because it's so close together, we have to divide it. We have to divide by 8. Because this, essentially, 8 is being multiplied by 6. And in order, the opposite of multiplication is division. So we have to divide by 8 to one side. We have to do it to the other side as well. Divide by 8, divide by 8. 8. So in this case, 8 divided by 8, that equals 1. So it's just going to be 1x. But as I mentioned before, you don't typically write the 1. The 1's usually invisible. So let's just get rid of that 1. We don't need it. If there's an x there, it automatically has to have a 1. X equals negative 6 over 8, which is also equal to, now we can simplify this. we can simplify this fraction. So negative 6 over 8, it's also going to be negative, and it'll be a fraction. But how do we simplify fractions? So what we do is divide something from the top and divide the same thing on the bottom. It's like an equal sign, except in this case it's a fraction. So what you do to the top of a fraction, you have to do to the bottom of a fraction. You can do anything you want to the top of the fraction and the bottom of the fraction, and it'll remain the same answer. All right. Negative 6 over 8. So what can we divide on the top of this fraction and the bottom of this fraction? They're both even numbers, right? So we can divide by 2. So let's divide by 2. Divide by 2. All right. If we divide 6 by 2, then that's going to be 3. And divide 8 by 2, that'll be 4. Boom. It's equal to negative 3 over 4. That is our simplified fraction. That is our solution, negative 3 over 4. That is the solution for this equation. All right, here's how I'm going to show you that. Actually, I can't because I'm filming on my phone. I was going to show my phone to show the calculator, but I can't because I'm filming on my phone. Anyways, so do you understand how I went through all this? I hope you do. If not, take a screenshot of this. Or look back at this video and see me doing it again. That's the advantage of YouTube. You can go back and watch it again, right? So it'll give you more practice, more understanding of what I'm doing. So in this case, I'm subtracting from both sides. Here I'm subtracting from both sides. And then here I'm dividing on both sides. Every time you do something to one side of the equation, you have to do it to the other side. That's going to be fundamental for you solving these equations, solving these algebra equations. In addition, subtracting and adding versus multiplying or dividing. That will be integral. What you want to do is subtract and add everything you can first until you get to a point where you can't subtract or add anymore. In this case, that's where I'm at over here. Here, I can't subtract or add anything anymore. So at that point, we have to multiply or divide. As long as you can subtract and add, do that first, and then you multiply and divide. In my class, what I have, I'm erasing now. What I have on my class is, on my whiteboard, I leave it on my whiteboard, is I have this, PEMDAS. PEMDAS. PEMDAS, it indicates parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. This is how you solve equations. So let's say we have 4 times 3 minus 2 plus 7 minus 4. All right? How do we solve this? In this case, you do what's inside the parentheses first. 3 minus 2, that'll be equal to 1 times 4 plus 7 minus 4. So 1 times 4, that's going to be 4 plus 7 minus 4. In this case, you can do it any time. 4 minus 4 is going to be 0. So that's just going to equal 7. In this case, what I did in my head is I essentially this is also equal to 4 minus 4 plus 7. And then 4 minus 4, that's going to be 0. So in this case, even though it's written as 4 plus 7 minus 4, it's the same thing as 4 minus 4 plus 7. This is a commutative property. I went over this the first lesson, but this is another reminder. So this is PEMDAS. All right. The reason I'm bringing this up is not because of PEMDAS, but if we do it backwards, if we write PEMDAS backwards. So instead of P, we're going to put S. We're going to say S, A, D, M, E, P. SADMEP. SADMEP. And what I like to draw is what I have on my thing, on my whiteboard, is a sad face guy. That's SADMEP. All right, SADMEP. What does he remind you of doing? He reminds you to subtract, and add until you can't do that again. Then you divide and multiply, depending on what you need to do. Subtract or add, then divide and multiply. And then map is just because it's the opposite of PEMDAS, it's gotta have the EP. Subtract and add before you divide and multiply. Think SAD MEP when you're solving for X. Subtract and add before you divide and multiply. All right? Cool. All right. Let's try this again. Let's try another equation. All right. Let's go with, so this is a two-step equations. This is two-step because, well, kind of, it's multi-step. Either way, it's something you guys gotta learn. All right. So we have, let's try a two-step equation. We're just going to keep it simple now. We're not going to combine like terms. We'll go back to that in my last equation, all right? But what I want you to do, what I want to do right now is go over a simple two-step equation, all right? We're going to do, all right. So my iPhone bugged out on me. The iPhone storage, it got full and it cut out my video. So, but like I said, I was going to make you a simple a simple two-step equation, all right? It'll be 3x plus 7 equals 28. That's what I was gonna write up, but unfortunately, the camera bugged out. Give me 1 second. I want to make sure. Good, we're still filming. All right. So how do we solve this problem? In this case, I have some students who sometimes my students say, okay, we gotta divide. We gotta divide by 3. That would be true, except for what I told you guys last time. We want to add and subtract first. We want to add and subtract everything we possibly can before we divide. All right. In this case, we can subtract. We can subtract 7. So we need to subtract 7 from 28. From 7 minus 7, and 7 minus 28. Boom. Have to do it one side of the equation and the other. Have to do it on both sides of the equation. All right. 7 minus 7 is going to be 0. Cross that out. Doesn't matter. 3x equals 28 minus 7. 28 minus 7, that's going to be 21. Right? 7 minus 8. 8 minus 7 is 1. Boom. All right. Now we have 3x equals 28, 21. 3x equals 21. We want to get the x by itself. So in this case, what's going on between the 3 and the x is they're being multiplied together. And the opposite of multiplication, it's division. So we have to divide by 3, divide by 3. So then we have x is equal to 7. You need to know your multiplication tables and your division tables in order to algebra. Algebra, if you don't know your multiplication or division, algebra is going to be really, really tough. So you might be having difficulty with multiplication and division. In that case, you got to put up a bunch of multiplication problems and solve them. And because if you don't know multiplication, algebra is gonna be tough. So practice that multiplication table, those times tables. All right, try and memorize those. All right, x equals 7. Boom, boom, boom. Now what I'm gonna do is check that that answer is correct. So this is the other benefit of. This is the other reason I really like math. You can check your answers and make sure that you're doing it right? So then, in this case, what we're gonna do is we're gonna write the same equation, 3x, or instead of 3x, we're gonna plug in here, the 7. 7 equals x. So instead of x, we're gonna plug in the number 7. Boom. We're gonna substitute in the number 7, plus 7 equals 28. Again, multiplication. Crucial to algebra. All right, so we got 3 times 7. 3 times 7 equals 21. Plus 7. 3 times 7, 21 plus 7, that equals 28. 28 equals 28. Boom, we have a smiley face. We got the right answer. Look at that. So now we can verify x does indeed equal 7. If it didn't, then the 28 would not be equal to 28. Right? But in this case, we have the fun smiley face, which, boom, we got it right. So, two steps of equations aren't too hard. Essentially, you have to subtract and multiply, then you add and subtract or add, and then you multiply and divide. All right. Think sad map. All right. Let's do one more. Let's do 3x. In this case, I'm going to actually add in another variable. We're going to be combining like terms, but we're going to combine with something else. We're going to say plus 2y plus 3x equals, let's go with 2y minus 42. All right. I came up with that in my head. All right, so now I gave you two variables because we're practicing combining like terms. In this case, we want to combine the x with the x and the x, but we also want to combine, or sorry, that's a y. That's not an x, that's a y. We want to combine the y. We put the y on top of y. We want to combine the x and y with y. The x cannot be combined with y because they're two different variables. They can't be combined together. All right. So we have 3x plus 3x. That's going to equal 6x, right? And then we have 2y on this side. So we still have the plus 2y. We can't combine anything yet because the other 2y is on the other side of the equal sign. So in order to pass the fence, in order to pass that equal sign, we have to add or subtract, or multiply or divide. We have to do the opposite sign. All right, we have 2y over here, and we have 2y over here. The 2y wants to get back with its friend. It wants to go to its friend. In order to do that, we have to do the opposite of the 2y. So since we're going to move the whole 2y, we're not going to be dividing, we're going to be subtracting. In order to move this 2y, we have to subtract 2y. Subtract 2y. If we do it on one side, we have to do it on the other side. Minus 2y. Boom. Now it's with its friend. 2y minus 2y. Yay, it's going to be 0. Anyways, that's going to cancel out on this side. So we're left with 6x. And that equals 2y minus 2y. That's going to be equals 0. So it equals negative 42. Boom. So then x, so now we're almost done. We got 6x equals negative 42. But we want x by itself. We want the x by itself. So we have to divide. We divide by 6. Divide by 6 on both sides. So then we have x is equal to 6 over 6. That's going to be 1. So that cancels. So we're left with just 1x, also known as just x. We never write the 1. Oh, we usually don't write the 1 because we don't need it. Because if there's an x there, automatically there's a 1 there. X equals 42 divided by 6. 6 times 3, or 6 times 6 is 36. 6 times 7 is 42. Right? Yes, 42. 7. So it equals 7. Is that right? No, it's not right. Negative 7. You have to remember. You have to bring those signs. These signs in front of the answer, crucially important. Those signs can make or break the answer to your question, right? We need this negative. This negative, super important. It's negative 7. Why is it negative? Because a negative divided by a positive is a negative. A negative times a negative is a positive. Negative times a positive is a negative. Remember your multiplication rules when it comes to signs. In this case, it's negative 7 is the answer. Cool. We can check that. In this case, y doesn't equal anything, so let's just remove the y variable from our equation up here. Since the y variable, it just cancels out, we can just cancel out right now. Minus 2y, minus 2y, boom. So then we got 3x, so it would be 6x, sorry. 6x equals negative 42. In this case, we're going to plug in, we got 6, and we're going to plug in the x. Plug in negative 7 for x, so we'll plug in this negative 7. We'll put that in over here. Negative 7 equals negative 42. 6 times 7, that's negative 42. Equals negative 42. Boom. Check. Fantastic. It works. This is correct because we checked it. Right? 6 times 7 is going to be 42, but it's going to be negative because it's a positive times a negative. So it's going to be negative 42. Boom. They're equal. That's how we know we did a good job. Awesome. So I'm going to leave you with some equations for homework. All right? We're running long on time, so I'm going to give you equations for homework. We're going to do 4 equals 24. All right, boom. This one's going to be the simplest of these equations. Actually, this one's going to be pretty simple too. This guy will be challenging. In this case, you want to solve for x, solve for x, solve for y. All right, I'll take a screenshot of that. All right, good. So next time we will be graphing these equations. Next time we're going to be graphing equations in 3 different forms. We're going to be graphing y equals mx plus b. That is the slope-intercept form, where this is the slope. Wait, I meant that for an arrow. Give me 1 sec. Boom, slope. This one's y-intercept. Intercept. Boom. Intercept. Y-intercept. And then, so that's the slope. That's this. What's it called? Slope-intercept form. All right. And then so we have. So that's one form of a line equation. Another form of a line equation is the standard form. Standard form is ax plus b y equals c. We can graph using standard form as well, not just slope-intercept form, but with standard form. And last form is y minus a equals m x minus b. This is point slope form, another form of a line, which is what we are going to be graphing. All right, that's about it. It's been a pleasure teaching you guys. I hope I have encouraged you guys to get into math, because math is really, really cool. You can solve these equations. They look really complicated. They're not really complicated. They're really easy. Math is super cool. It leads to us understanding the world around us. All right. Have a great day. I hope you have fun. Practice that homework. Practice using the homework assignment I gave you. Watch this video back and forth again if you want. And have a great day, night, year, minute, hour, whatever it is. Have a good one.